Hello and welcome to the Island Lamb, and I'm Diane and I'm with my mom Esther, and this is episode 14, A Visit with Mom, a Christmas visit with Mom. So Mom, the last time we talked, we shared all of your knitting history and your knitted garments over a 50-year period.
Yes.
And you're wearing one of your hand knits again.
Yes.
This is that gorgeous fisherman knit sweater that we have no idea what the pattern was, or we lost some of that you lost some of that in the house fire, but it's a gorgeous raglan sweater and it's a perfect Christmas sweater.
It's lovely.
Wonderful work on that, Mom. And I'm wearing that pullover that I had in a previous episode, and I had a lot of details in the show notes about this sweater, and I'll include that in the show notes for this episode. But today I really wanted to focus more on my mom's 30 years working at an incredible country store that had a Christmas annex, and my mom was a buyer at that store. So, Mom.
Yes. It was wonderful, magical, just absolutely beautiful. Of course, I used to buy for the store, one for the store and one for myself. So I ended up with quite inventory of Christmas ornaments, which when I put out now, it's a joy. And remembering those days, working for Mrs. Sis McKinney, who was just a wonderful person.
And the name of the shop was the Old Almy House, and it was a historical home owned by the Almy family many years ago. And then Sis and Ed McKinney bought the house and turned it into a country store.
Yes, it was lovely, lovely. We sold pickles and coffee. We had a huge grinder. We would grind the coffee. It was just wonderful.
And teas and all kinds of Christmas gadgets and wheels of cheese and licorice whips. But she added, Mrs. McKinney added a Christmas annex.
Yes.
And you became really the buyer of the Christmas ornaments, and you worked in that annex.
Yes.
And so it was Christmas year round. And they did Christmas in July.
Yes, yes. It was just awesome.
And how many trees did you decorate, would you say?
Gosh, at least 6.
And every tree had a different theme?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you remember some of the themes?
Well, of course, we had all German ornaments. Were absolutely beautiful. Glass and had Germany on the top of the cap, and it's just beautiful. Every color you could think of.
Ornaments from Sweden?
Sweden, yes.
Poland?
Yes, Poland. Tomties, Russia, the stacking dolls, the matryoshkas. It was just a wonderful time.
And if I recall, there were a lot of collectibles, and the company would issue a new piece each year. So you had index boxes filled with people and their phone numbers, and you would call them and say, your collection, the new collection is in this year.
Yes. Oh, it was just wonderful. We had German nutcrackers, smokers, advent calendars, buyer's choice.
Yeah, buyer's choice.
Buyer's choice. Nativity scenes were just beautiful from Germany, Italy. And I used to have a priest come in and buy a nativity every year, but it had to be made in the United States. He was very fussy, but he was great. And Christmas Eve, we used to try to lock up early But I would have men banging on the door and the window, please let me in, let me in. And
well, Sis McKinney would advertise men's night on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
And I want to talk about the party that she would throw. So, you know, most women would have their Christmas shopping done and everything wrapped, but the men would come out of work. And Sis McKinney had a sterling silver punch bowl that was this big. Right? And she made the best eggnog, whipped the egg whites and the brandy and I don't even know, I was only like 17 or 16, the liquor. And she would invite the men that night, and we would have the eggnog and at tables, a spread of delicatessen foods and cookies and the men would have a few drinks. And we sales reps would help them.
Yes. It was just wonderful. It was the nicest place.
They were somewhat desperate at that point, right?
Yes. They were, please open the door. Let me in, please. Oh my gosh, I want to go home.
And my first job at the Almy House was as a gift wrapper. So I had my own little room in the middle of this country store. And the biggest tape dispenser I ever saw, it was this big and it was heavy, so it didn't move. You could pull off the tape. And there were rolls on the walls of special wrapping paper that had the country store and the Almy House on it and ribbons. And I just wrapped. And I think that's where my love of wrapping came from. And you have a funny story about a woman that did some wrapping.
Oh, Mrs. McKinney's granddaughter helped me. She was young in high school. And somebody came in and bought a Christmas mug. And I said to her, wrap this for me, please. So off she goes into the wrapping room, comes out, hands me the box. I give it to the lady. But an hour later, this lady calls me. She says, I think the girl that wrapped this forgot to put the mug in the box. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, so sorry. So I said, please come in. I think I gave her an extra ornament just to make up for the loss. So it was fun. Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to think what else we carried. Oh, gosh. Beatrix Potter music boxes. That just absolutely.
That went with the little books.
Yes.
The Beatrix Potter books, right?
Beatrix Potter. Gosh. Of course, the German ornaments were the best.
Yep. The smokers.
Smokers, nutcrackers. It's just magical. I seem to recall we had a wonderful garden club in the town of Portsmouth. And they had a contest, a door contest, and we won first prize. I had decorated, the door was red to begin with.
Okay.
And I had put garland all around the door, and I decided to do a small wreath, a large wreath, and then a huge wreath hanging on the door. It had to be all fresh. I put acorns, beautiful bowls hanging.
Pine cones.
Pine cones. It was really lovely.
And it won first prize.
First prize. We got a call to say we had first prize. We were written up in the daily paper.
And that was all yours? That was your idea? And
yes.
Very nice, Mom.
So that was quite interesting.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for sharing those wonderful years at the Old Almy House. We lived nearby. I mean, we could literally walk to, in the warmer weather, we could walk to the Almy House.
Yes. Happy New Year. Have a healthy New Year.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that holiday visit with my mom and that walk down memory lane of that beautiful country store and Christmas shop that we both worked at. And it was really a wonderful time in our lives. And it wasn't like work. It was such a joyous place, and there was so much fun. And so you heard her say that she misses it, and we both do. We had tea, lovely tea in the afternoon. We had great chats, wonderful sharing of memories. We had a nice fire each night, and candlelight, and lovely dinners. And it was a good holiday visit, and we had beautiful weather here. And I know that the Midwest and just east of us in Buffalo, New York, you have been hit with snow and frigid temperatures, but we can't complain here. On the island, our temperatures in the winter are usually a few degrees higher than the mainland. And we had a beautiful dusting of snow on Christmas Eve day. And then our wind died down and our temperatures have been pretty mild. My mom had a good ferry ride over and back. We have the kind of weather we can go out and do a nice walk. Our grass is still green on our lawn, which is amazing. We can open the windows and let some fresh air in. So we have been very fortunate. In the previous episode where I featured my mom's trees and her ornaments, I mentioned that every year I give my mom a Santa ornament to put on that beautiful Santa tree. And she also gives me an ornament every year. And because she had so many ornaments from that Christmas tree shop over the years, I still get an ornament from the Old Almy House almost every year. And this year she gave me this beautiful mercury glass, turquoise blue ornament that goes in my house and looks perfect on my tree. And this is not a new ornament because that shop has been closed for many, many years. So even back then we were obviously drawn to this color. So I will hang that on my tree a little bit later. So I mentioned that I was wearing the Jeanne Cable-Yoke Pullover, and there's lots of details regarding this in a previous episode. But I am thinking about my next few projects. I know I have a lot of works in progress, and I will work on those, the colored coat and my steeking project. But I'm thinking about the next thing I want to put on the needles. And I just watched Andrea Mowry's I'll Knit If I Want To most recent episode. And she reminded us that she is going to be doing her March to May knit along. And that knit along is a sweater, one of her patterns and a sweater pattern. So I plan to take some time and go through her sweater patterns and see what appeals to me. When I was in Rhinebeck in October, I bought some beautiful hand-dyed and hand-spun yarn. And I think I might like to try to incorporate that yarn into one of those patterns. So I'll let you know when I decide. I always like to put socks on the needles this time of year. And I also bought some nice sock yarn when I was in Rhinebeck. Actually, I think when I was at Webb's. And this is a merino wool blend, organic wool, a nice variegated yarn. It's a great time to be working on. We can all enjoy wearing nice wool socks this time of year. So I do plan on making some socks. I have a couple of pair of my brother's socks that I do want to darn. So I have that on my mind. I have my Lazurite Cardigan from the Rowan 70 edition, the Platinum Edition magazine, and that is the pattern that is a Martin Storey. And as you saw before, I have finished the left front of the cardigan. I finished the two sleeves. I have the back on the needles, and so I'll be working on that this week. It's going fast. It's on a size 8 needle. So once I get the back finished, I'm going to piece it together. Well, I have to finish the right front. I'll finish the right front, piece it together, put the band on, go through my button stash and see what I have. So that project is coming to fruition. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my husband and I's New Year tradition. And we started this a few years back, and I like it. And what we do is we don't have a big dinner that night. I will put out a little crudité, some vegetables, maybe some cheeses and meats. I'll make shrimp cocktail. We'll sit in the living room, we'll light the fire, put the tree on, light our candles. And I put out a tray, and on that tray, I put 12 votive candles. And my husband gets out the calendar. He's very good at marking our activities. And of course, I journal. So between the two of us, we can pretty much recreate our activity each month. And we'll start with January. So we light one candle, we light January. And then we review that month. What did we do last January? Did we have projects going? Did we travel? And we go through each month. And then we talk about, well, was there something that we really don't want to do again? Or was there something we'd like to add? Did we accomplish everything we wanted? Did we enjoy all the activities that were available to us on the island? And I think that's a nice way, and as we put it, to put the year to bed. So the next day we are truly starting fresh. We've put aside and put away all those things we did the previous year. Sometimes it's something sad. Sometimes we've lost someone. So we don't shy from what happened that year, but we do put it to bed. So I am looking forward to that tradition again this year. We'll open up a bottle of champagne, a little bubbly. We'll put on a nice holiday outfit, and we'll enjoy each other's company quietly in our own home. I did mention to you that I had purchased some little tags that you can clip onto your garment, a sweater or a hat, fingerless gloves, a scarf, and I did get them. And I'm hoping I'm inserting a photo right now of what they look like and how they look on a hat. I gave my sister-in-law that rust hat that you're seeing, and that was the Pearl Soho free pattern, and that was the classic ribbed hat. And it looks so cute. And they're easy to take off. They're machine washable. They were very affordable. I got them on Etsy, and I will put a link below to who the maker was. One last thing I want to share with you is that I have been producing a episode every week and making it available, having it go live on Tuesday morning. But I think what I want to do over these few winter months, as I concentrate on some self-care and some new projects and maybe a little traveling, it's a good time of year for us to go off island and visit friends and family. I think what I'm going to do is an episode every 2 to 3 weeks instead of weekly. And I will let you know on Instagram and also on Facebook when those will be coming out. I'll give you a day's notice or so. And so it's another good reason to subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying it, because then you'll know when a new one is going to come out. And in the spring, I'll reconsider how often I will do them. But I think for now, 2 to 3 weeks will give me time to go off island and do some of the things that we want to do, and also still have time to chat with you about knitting. So I want to wish you a very happy, healthy new year, and I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. Bye-bye.